Hi guys, how's it going? We're getting to the end of the day, so I'm hoping I can inspire you guys, spark some thoughts, and then we can go for beers afterwards and have a good time and continue chatting. So my name is Sebastian. I'm a product manager and a strategist, and I've been working with conversational experiences on my own in my own startup called Sure, and also for bigger brands and companies for the last couple of years. And today I'm going to talk about the business aspect of chatbots, if there is one, or if it's like Bitcoin and it's all a big fad. No Bitcoin, any Bitcoin fans? No, but let me just see if it works. Yeah, so I'm not here to sell anything, first of all. Just want to say that. This is my disclaimer. I've worked with conversational experiences for a while. I don't own a company that sells conversational experiences or a consultancy, anything like that. This is one of the projects I'm working on at the moment for a company called Unwire based in Denmark, which is a mobility service, mobility as a service where you can get public transport integrated with Lyft and Uber so you can get directly to your last destination. So that was just a little disclaimer. If you're interested in this stuff, you can also come talk to me afterwards. But yeah, today we're going to talk about the business aspect. So if you're a startup, building a SaaS company, or if you're corporate or business thinking about integrating a chatbot, then hopefully this will spark some ideas for you. So let me start off just talking about what a chatbot is. Well, for me, I see it as a program designed to simulate intelligent conversations, either via text or voice. And I'm going to keep shifting between the topics like a conversational experience or a chatbot. But for me, I see them as pretty much the same thing. So have that in mind. And why are chatbots and voice interfaces interesting? Well, I'm sure like most of you guys, you're in Slack all day. You're talking to your coworkers that either remote or right there in the office. But sitting in Slack and chatting. And on the consumer side, you're probably in messaging services, you're chatting with your friends, and might even engage with businesses now. And actually, as it says here, most of us actually prefer to talk to businesses via digital means. So this stuff is quite relevant. At the same time, we've reached peak app. I'm not sure about you guys, if you're still downloading a lot of apps. I kind of feel with this, I'm not really downloading a lot of new apps. And even though Apple recently redesigned their App Store, still the way to make money on apps, it's really, really hard. And the only way to make money is either doing like in-app purchases for existing apps or doing games. So kind of it's getting to a tough business. At the same time, as you heard before, the previous conversation, talk, voice is extremely hot. There's a lot of focus on it. There's a lot of investment in voice at the moment. You have all the big players, Amazon, Google, and now also Apple, releasing their speakers, their assistants. And for these use cases, voice is great, right? I'm not sure about you guys. Do you use Siri on your phone? I love to use Siri for like smaller tasks, like wake me up tomorrow, or how's the weather like? Put on some music, and this is where these services at the moment really excel. And if you look out there in the market, this is from CES this year in Las Vegas, the biggest tech conference. You can see Google stand. Oh, there you go. Siri was talking to me. Google is investing so much in this. Like this was their stand. It was all about, hey Google, all the people they're working with, all the providers, all the hardware. They're really focusing on this stuff. And Amazon also really big in this space. And the last couple of years, what we've seen is that, well, conversational experiences, they don't have to just be text or voice. It's actually a mixture of both. Like we had UI for 20 years, 30 years now. We're pretty good at doing UI, and UI is great for a lot of things. So now we're mixing the things. And this is the latest speaker from Amazon. It's great because it allows you to to talk to it as a primary interface, but it returns stuff like UI. Here, for example, the screen. So we're really mixing these things in both hardware and software. And they have software, so it doesn't. There's no distractions or anything like that. There's like a single button, and then it's contextual. It's smart. It notices it's the morning. It knows you want the news, and it just presents that for you. Yeah. So we have these hybrid experiences now, where they're conversational, but they still have a combination of UI. As you can see here, it's a form. The form is definitely the smartest way to input data. So we're still going to keep that, but we're going to keep it within the conversational experience to make it more pleasant and fast to use. So just quickly on some of the benefits of conversational interfaces. Yeah, as I said, with these experiences, you can now be in the apps that people are using the most, which is like for business, it's Slack, and for consumers, it's messaging services. So it's super convenient, and you're right there where your users are. You don't have to convince them to go on your website, stay there, or go into your app. You can simply take advantage of their favorite experience. Yeah, and there's pretty much nothing to install from the consumer side. It's super easy to use. This is CNN. Like if you want to get news from CNN, you can simply just talk to them on Messenger. They're integrated. You can subscribe to news. You can do all that stuff, and it kind of learns what you're interested in over time and feed you more personalized information. Another thing that's kind of interesting with chatbots is that people actually like talking to machines. It sounds a bit strange, but people do like talking to machines because there's no one judging them at the other end. So here we have Forksy, which is interesting because you can talk to her about your food preferences, what you like to eat, and she doesn't judge you if you eat like a huge burger. So that is kind of interesting that now you can start to have a relationship with someone that doesn't judge you. You see it in Asia a lot. People are having intimate relationships with these chatbots. It's actually quite interesting. At the same time, it's a unique way to kind of promote your brand in a different way. You saw in the 2000s, you actually saw customer satisfaction going down for a lot of brands because people started to do self-serve on the internet using just e-commerce, and there was no assistance at all. But now all of a sudden, you can have this personal assistant that's helping you, that's speaking the way the brand works. So H&M, a young brand, they try to be casual, they use emojis, and they have that specific tone of voice for the audience. But this is all great. Like, yeah, there's benefits. It's happening out there. But what does this have to do with me, right? Like, if I have a business. Should I invest in chatbots? Does it help me make more money? This is what we're going to talk about. So, well, the easy one, of course, is what you can do with customer support. Like, customer support is one of the most expensive cost drivers in businesses. I used to work in telco. This was pretty much what we worked on. It was how do we reduce costs? How do we make people self-efficient? So this is an obvious one. At the same time, you can spin it around. You can spin it around from just doing support to actually offer new value through customer support, upsell new products, explain your products in a better way. So this is a really unique chance to do that. Intercom is great at doing this, where you simply add in a little snippet on your homepage. All of a sudden, you can have this intimate relationship with your customers. Here, bots is like the first line of defense, and then a human will take over when it gets too complicated. But like, we know where this is going. I mean, chatbots are going to do this in the future, in the near future. They're pretty much going to do all of this for us. So if you work in customer support, you might want to see if there's another job out there for you. Another thing that's actually quite interesting is this idea of extending your product. Having it in a chat platform. So this is probably the most common use case today, or business model today, which is where you have an ongoing service that you subscribe to, and then you can access it within chat. So let me show you an example here, which is StatSpot, and that allows you to get data from Mixpanel and Google Analytics and get it straight into Slack. So you can easily share it with your friends or sorry, your colleagues, of course. And what they do here is they have this classic kind of freemium model where you get the service for free, but if you want access to more in-depth information, especially as you grow, you would then have to pay for that. So again, a very, very classic model. Today, most of these services, when you want to offer something that's a bit more premium, it actually take you outside of the interface, the text interface, and onto a website. So again, kind of a mixture of the different experiences. Also, like a established company like Trello is embracing this stuff because they know that their customers are in Slack, and again, like you would develop a mobile app for a specific use case if you're on the go or you would constrain it in a certain way, then you could consider integrating with these conversation experiences the same way. Offer something different, slightly new, that will help on your value proposition. This is Envision, a product for doing prototypes and interactive prototypes online, and you can be like, okay, why are these guys adding this into Slack, right? Is it that more helpful? But what you can argue is that first off, it really increases engagement and usefulness for your product because you're in there where people are already communicating and working, and you get another touch point with your customers, and also, like, if you're not going to do this, if you're not going to be in here and be the most convenient service, then someone else is probably going to do it. And you know how it is with these tools; they keep changing all the time. So you have to stay ahead of the game, which is why being in here, you actually mitigate the risk of someone else doing it before you, and then being the favorite tool for your being the favorite tool. Another classic one, selling goods and services. This is Amazon, right? They're really good at this. But there's other examples. Levi's here doing e-commerce, and you can see that, again, they have this assistant online where there's often, in a sales funnel like this online, there's a lot of drop-off. But having this digital assistant actually allows you to step in at the right time when you can see that customers might be confused or about to leave your site. You can come in there, you can help them, you can offer that experience that you would normally do in a brick-and-mortar scenario. So that's kind of interesting if you're in the e-commerce space. Lego is an interesting case as well. This is a product that helps you find the right product for your kid or someone else's kid. Where, okay, do I like building cities? Do I like fantasy? What do you like? You can kind of narrow it down, and then they suggest certain products for you. And it's quite simple. This is like super simple for them because all they do is link to the responsive website afterwards. So you don't have to integrate it into the experience. And you see this a lot with other services where they actually do referrals. And you can imagine similar to a travel agent where they can refer a lot of different different vendors. Then this is something you could do as well. Help customers get the right product, and you take a cut of it. Let's see. Yeah, so ads has pretty much been the bread and butter for the online industry for a while, and bots are no different. Here is Quartz. It's a news app that works as a conversation interface, showing news in a slightly different way where it's more interactive. But again, their business model is having ads and showing that. So they continue doing that, and that works really well. But you can also do it in a slightly different way. Here is a bot by an influencer, so Katy Perry or a famous person. And what they do is they kind of built this ecosystem around their brand, and here ads is definitely a way to monetize, but the thing is that now you have this personal relationship with the user, so all of a sudden the ad can become much more helpful, and also it's within it's within the context, so it's much more relevant. But also, again, you kind of track which things users are interested in, and then make it more personal and more relevant for people. So again, if you're in this space, then ad is definitely the way to go. This one is like interesting if you're like a startup or you're building a new service, then there's a lot of competition out there, right? So think about how a chatbot can actually create some novelty around your product. It's really about the user experience, also the marketing part of it. I'm not sure if you've seen this. I haven't tried it yet, but Starbucks used to have this app. What Starbucks really want is they want customers to buy coffee before they hit the shop, so there's no line. In and out really quickly, good user experience. But with UI, it was kind of clunky to actually get this coffee. Like imagine you want a, what's it called, like skinny latte macchiato, whipped cream and sprinkles on it. It takes a lot of taps. It's quite complicated to add in. But enabling voice and having a digital assistant, it's exactly the same user experience that people are used to being in the store. So simply talking to it, it's super fast and super convenient. So I'm quite excited about this. I really want to try it. I haven't tried it yet, but it looks really cool. Oops, there we go. These guys, you've probably seen them on the hallway, in the very dark hallway. I think it's a really cool experience. Again, they're basically a recruitment platform, right? And they take this idea of using a text-based interface to be personal, to have that experience you never really have. I'm not sure there's any recruiters in here, but you never really have that good experience with recruiters. But here it's personal, it's one-to-one, it's fun, it's engaging. I think this actually works really well. When I saw this, like, oh, this is pretty cool, because it's completely new and novel to what else you see out there. Yeah, and for landing pages, this is a portfolio, but again, we want people to stop up and think and notice the brand, right? And when you get to a site that works different, where the design is different, the user experience is different, that makes you stop and think and remember the experience. So again, you can really use this to make something more engaging. Yeah, just lastly, so to kind of summarize, if you can actually make money on conversations, and if there is a business in chatbots and voice interfaces, I would definitely say yes, there is. The thing to remember is, and I think a lot of people got so excited when we started building these, is that it's still a business you're building. So you still need a business case, right? The chatbot is just a user experience. Users are not interested in buying bots. They're interested in buying good services, right? So you need to support your existing business model and start on that. But it does offer a way, chatbots, to really engage with a brand and connect with it. Yeah, and the service. So yeah, support your existing business model. Start by having a killer service. Use it as a new sales channel to be exactly where your customers are at. Instead of forcing them to get to a website or to an app, now you're reducing the friction and you're just using the products that they're using. And then the fifth point here is, like, building apps is still complicated. Like, it's getting cheaper and cheaper to build an app, true, with web technologies and React Native, etc. But there's a lot of cost to having an app still, updates, different fragmentation on Android, etc., etc. So if you're a startup or a corporate that wants to try out a new service, then a chatbot could be a great way to do this, because you can easily focus on the value proposition and test some stuff out. So this is a good way to be very, very, very lean. And then, but if you want to monetize, let's say you have a killer idea, you got a good service, and it works. Like, when should you then start monetizing on it? Do it straight away? No, you actually, I would say you have to wait a bit. You have to convince people that this is a good service. And again, this is not really new. We're talking about something like the hook model, for example. Like, get the service into Slack, etc. Get them to use it. Show them there's value. Maybe it's a trial period. Maybe it's just the couple of features that they try first, and if they really like it, then that is where you upgrade it, and then sell those premium services. And those premium services, they might not be in the Slack interface or in the voice interface. Doesn't matter, as long as there's a good connection between that experience and the premium experience. Yeah, that was pretty much it. So I hope this inspired you. There's some good examples you can take home if you're thinking about building an experience, or if you have one, or you're thinking about should I build a chatbot? I've heard it's just a waste of time and it's not converting. Then I would say we got some good examples that show you it's definitely still a good idea to consider this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So, you ate some time away from the questions and answer section, but we're still going to have maybe 1 or 2 questions. There is one question there. Can you throw the catch box there? Catch it. Excellent. You have to talk into the cross.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. I just wanted to know, as you mentioned the example of Starbucks, is there not like any part where you or anyone is excited about or not excited about that real conversation is not happening anymore? Like, I'm just entering and going and watching on my phone all the time, and I don't have to communicate in reality?
You're right, and I don't think that. Let's take the Starbucks example. I don't think it's either or, and I don't think that future conversations are going to be all transactional with a machine. I mean, we still want to have good conversations with people, right? So the reason why I think the Starbucks example is great, because Starbucks, in the old days, they used to be craft coffee, right? But now there's so many other craft coffee shops that offer something different. So I think Starbucks is turning more into this quick, get in, get out kind of transactional experience. And if you're looking for that, then the chatbot is a good offering, right? But what you want to do as a business is you want to have different offerings for different types of users, right? So all of a sudden, you can have that check-in, fast checkout lane where you talk to a bot, you get it in and out, you're busy on your way to work. And then you have the other experience where you can get to chat with people, get to know them, et cetera, right? So I think we're not going to see one over the other. We'll see different solutions, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. 24 seconds for another question. Is there anybody with a question? This time I love the Baltic crowd. Nobody's asking questions. Thank you so much. Give him a big applause.
Cheers. Thanks, man.
Thank you for coming, man.